I'm starting I'm thinking about writing a book called Writing Party Wisdom. And so this will be an entry into that. So Annie Reddick just asked about a question about defining her audience a little bit more, and your subject. Go ahead, Annie. You, if you could ask the question again.
My subject is gratitude, and it's for everyone, because I wrote my book to help people who had suffered a loss by telling my own story. But as I wrote the book, I realized that everybody's life can be better with gratitude. So I don't know who my audience is and how to define it right now.
And then you also mentioned senior centers.
That's where I've been sharing it mostly, because I've been doing it through my concerts. But the book, I hope, will open me to a broader audience.
All right, very good. So you actually have a wonderful opportunity here. And that is, like I talk about during Write a Book in a Weekend, when we're writing our introductions, that we talk about what we're writing about, why it's important, and then who we're writing it to. But the thing is, we don't have to just name one audience there. We could name several. So same thing for you. When you're out there talking about gratitude, you can just take a different audience and address them in social media posts or in your book or in blog articles or in videos or anything like that. And you could say something like, today I'm talking about having an attitude of gratitude when you have suffered a setback in life. Or if you're going through a tough time, like a divorce or a separation, or if you have suffered a loss in your life. And so you can niche down into different audiences and actually even different situations related to gratitude. But going back to your original question about audiences, you could say, today I'm going to share about how to have an attitude of gratitude when you're a teenager and you don't want to go to school. Or something like that, or you had a big fight with your best friend or something, or you lost the big basketball game or something like that. And then again, you could take the audience and then you talk about a specific situation. So you don't have to narrow things down. Instead, you can expand. But the key is you don't say, hey, it's true. Yeah. Everybody can benefit from an attitude of gratitude. Like, you could say that in general, but when you're actually doing a meatier piece of writing or video or audio or blog post about this, you want to niche down to a specific situation. So then that relates, the reader can relate to that, whether it's, maybe they're not a teenager, but maybe they have a teenager that they want to share this with. And what that does, Annie, is it deepens your area of expertise, and it makes you a more it makes you a more prominent voice in the area of gratitude, because you are talking specifics through a number of audiences and in a number of situations. And we can all do this, by the way, no matter what your subject is. You can approach it through the eyes and the lens of talking to different audiences or different situations. All right, Annie, does that help?
Yeah, it does. And actually, on the back of my book cover, I did address just, help you climb out of a well if you've experienced a loss, or maybe you just want to experience more of the joy of everyday living. I'm trying to appeal to both of them when they look at the back cover.
Exactly. So. Right. Yeah. It appeal to anybody, and even see what happens too is that by naming the different audiences or situations, you actually, like, when the actual reader is experiencing that, it really gets their attention. It's like, wow, she's talking to me. And that's why, I encourage everybody to kind of think about this and use these different lines and different phrases. And then the beauty of it is, you are never at a loss for writing material. This is just only about the who and some situations. It's not even into any tips or anything like that, but just identifying an audience and a situation they are going through, and then how what you do can help them is, again, that can give you a lot of great content starters of things that you can share, especially on social media.
Thank you very much.
I want to get to our writing prompt, but I will answer one more question from Angela.
Thank you. I'm wondering how this same information can apply to a memoir. I'm on volume 7, but I can't define what people actually get from these stories that I'm telling. I mean, some people go, "Oh, I cried when I read about your mother," or "You're so brave and courageous," but I'm too close to it to define what it is that people actually get out of these books, and how do I do that so that I can niche down like you're talking about with Annie, in specific niche groups.
So in your case, what I would do is identify 5 of the stories that really seem to make an impact. Those maybe 5 of the original ones that you thought about when you were starting writing your memoirs. And then and I know I've heard your writing, and Angela, the key to a memoir is both the description of like what happened to me, and then the insight of what you gained from it. And it's that insight that is like similar to what Annie and her gratitude is. That's the message that you're looking to share. Then you take that message and then you can apply it to different audiences. So you kind of define, that insight, give it a title. All right. The insight was whatever it was, about the importance of perseverance, or the insight was about the importance of communication. And then you can build on that insight in your other writings and social media posts and blog posts, in videos, again, on, podcasts, whatever it might be. And then you kind of like back into your memoir. So you start talking about the insight and who it can apply to and who might gain something from this. And then you say, I had my own experience with this that I describe in title of book.
Oh,
Okay.
that's really helpful. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, we're going to do some writing this morning. Hello to those who are joined us. Hello, Michelle Libby. Joyce is here. Wanda Hatton, I was just thinking about you. Nice to see you. Abraham, as always. Diane Lovett, good to have you in the room. And Tessa is here as well. Very good. Owen Mazzell has also joined us. So welcome. Glad to have you here. Today's a writing session, and I have the prompt for you, and that is, outside of your family, what is your greatest achievement? Outside of your family, what is your greatest achievement? And I'm going to give you 15 minutes to write, and then we're going to do some shares of anybody who wants to share their answer. All right. Outside of your family, what is your greatest achievement? I'll type that into the chat, and we'll get started with our 15 minutes of writing now. All right, so we just had a little writing time, and before we have some shares around that, I wanted to ask or to address a few things here in the chat. First of all, someone's wondering when another writing group will start. Well, we have them every day, starting at 8 a.m. Pacific time. That's 11 a.m. Eastern with our coffee cooler. So we do 15 minutes of connection time, and then we have 2 or 3 sessions, usually 3 sessions of writing. And then on Fridays, same thing, we're here at 8 a.m. Pacific time, and then we do 2 sessions of writing, and then we have this mastermind. Sometimes we write in the mastermind, sometimes we talk in the mastermind, sometimes we share in the mastermind, sometimes I teach in the mastermind. It's just kind of a little bit of a buffet of a number of things. And today is like a buffet within a buffet. So before I answer questions or hear shares here, I wanted to say 2 things. First of all, PJ is mentioning about a great giveaway that the awesome Blossom Stephanie Treasure is doing. And you can pick up some items there at coachandprofitgiveaway.com. Sometimes I take part in those giveaways, but I'm not in this one, but I think PJ might be. Coachandprofitgiveaway.com. So that's one thing. And then Dina was wondering about how do you save in a Word document the results of the chat things. And so Warren had some ideas here, just like copy and paste into a Word document, but I actually do an extra step. So let me show you what I do.
Yeah, I tried copying pasting and didn't line up right.
Yeah, so here's what I do. I have my chat window open here, and so I put the prompt in. Oh, my thingy is covering it. Wait, this. What are 5 qualities of good writing? All right, so it's like, oh, this would be something good to kind of maybe get together these lists to build upon. So Chat gave me an answer, and then what I do is I'm like, give me 5 more. And so then it'll add some additional ones. And then I could do this all day. Just give me 5 more, give me 5 more. I usually do it 2 more times, so it gives me 20. But for today, because of time, I'll just stick with these 2. And then what I do is I select it. And then I copy it and I go to an email. It's called an email formatting tool. It's called formatit.com.
Oh.
formatit.com. And then I paste it in here. And it takes out all of the like image icons and things like that. And so then I just copy it out of here. It just kind of cleans it up. All right. And then I in my Google Drive, I started a document called ChatGPT Scratchpad, Qualities of Good Books. So this is just kind of a technique I've come up with to keep, because what'll happen is when you start with ChatGPT, you're gonna start like creating all this content. It's like, wow, how do I keep this straight? So I put it what I call a scratch pad. It's kind of like, this is my holding pen for my ChatGPT stuff. And I label it ChatGPT something scratch pad or whatever, so then I can search for it in my Google Drive. And then this one I labeled Qualities of Good Books, and then I just paste it in here, and boom, there it is. And the alignment's pretty good, and that's because Formatit helps with that. Okay.
Oh, good. I've never heard of Formatit. I thought maybe in Word there's a way to paste special or something.
I don't know.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
this works for me. This is what
Thanks.
Yep.
Never heard of that. That's great. Thanks.
All right, cool. You're welcome. Dina, since you had your hand raised, did you have another question or anything?
I was going to share what I wrote.
Okay. All right. Well, while we have you muted, why don't you go ahead?
Okay. I haven't reread it, but here's what I wrote. I'm reluctant to say what my greatest achievement is. I think it was Marianne Williamson who said, "Who am I to be wealthy?" Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small doesn't serve the world. I've worked hard and smart doing what I have a passion for. I was highly educated and trained beyond most people's experience, if not expectations. The result of becoming wealthy was not the goal. So I didn't achieve my goal of financial independence. I achieved my goal of comfort. I'm comfortable with a steady flow of income that just appears in my bank account several times a month and provides enough money that I can live comfortably for the rest of my life and for the life of my husband. It also allows me the freedom to give generously and do good in the world.
Yeah, very nice, Dina. Excellent. Nice, draft that you did right there. And then like referring to that quote from Marianne Williamson. It wasn't wealthy. I can't remember exactly what it was, but in any case, that's like on the right track.
I put that in.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Anyway, the variation on the quote, but that's kind of like borrowed expertise when we quote somebody like that in our own pieces, and it can help uplift your own piece too. And it also gives kind of a signal to the reader of like, this is someone that I admire, or that I think is a good writer. And that's good to do to kind of make that connection with your reader. And then also just so like minds, right? Like attracts like. And so then they kind of know they're in the right place. So nice job. All right, thank you, Dina. Deb.
Thank you. I just want to say participating in all of this has just like blown open a whole new world for me. So this is what I played with. Outside of my family, my greatest achievement has been my success in becoming an independent and confident human being and woman. Those goals were active choices for me. It was critical that I knew how to live independently. I guess early on in my teens, I must have made a decision that I would not find that perfect fellow to settle down with, and it must have been a very subconscious decision. Growing up was a hard journey for me from an emotional perspective. I grew up on the Lower East Side of Manhattan, and back then, living in a housing project with my mom, dad, and sisters was challenging. During that time, there were active gang wars, and so parents were cautious about letting their kids play outdoors. The layout of the projects I grew up in was such that the buildings surrounded a very large open area with trees all around it and playground on either side. Centered between the two was a very large space, often used by the boys to play football or stickball. And then I continued. The reason why I wanted to read this was to find out from you if my descriptives were like on the right track, because ultimately that need to be confident is a result of a lot of fear and anxiety, which I was going to continue some more descriptive writing and then address that. And so.
Yeah, I like what you did there with kind of like the setup of the scene, and this is what I thought, and then going back to, you know, where I grew up. I mean, I learned several things about you just by hearing that, Deb. So I think that's really nice. And your descriptions, you know, the stickball and Manhattan and stuff, also those specifics really help that piece and make it sing. So good job.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Good.
you're welcome.
I'll continue.
Okay, please do. Artists.
Yes. Minute, let me get my thing over here so I can. I lost it. Wait just a second. Are you still there?
I am. While you look for it, I'm going to answer yet. Shug is asking again, when is another writing group going to start? The best advice, come when you can, hang on.
Okay.
Just like take part and hang on, and you'll find your way here. All right, go ahead, artist.
Okay, I had written a whole lot and then I carved it all down to a couple of short paragraphs. And I realized that there's a difference between thinking about my accomplishments as opposed to my proudest moment. And they're separate because what I wrote is not about a moment. But I tend not to think about my accomplishments as much as I think about my failures. For that is where I have learned the most. My greatest accomplishment is getting up again after falling. Instability on my feet has given me an appreciation of how unstable life can be, whether that is personal or collective, and includes finances, relationships, health, and staying on a given path. I have learned to embrace impermanence as the only stable thing in life, and that has taught me to live in the moment instead of ruminating on the past or spending my time or energy on what isn't here yet. In summary, my greatest achievement is living in the now, releasing the past, celebrating each moment, whether positive or negative, and stepping into an unknown future without a need to know what that will be.
Yeah, very nice, artist. And yeah, a really good, not a twist exactly, but coming in to it from another angle, like you did there. And I agree with what you were saying in the beginning about how greatest accomplishment is different than proudest moment, because a proudest moment is a moment, but a greatest accomplishment is a building, right? It's moment after moment after moment. And some of them can be up and some of them can be down, and then some of them can be up again. So I think that's what you demonstrated here. And I think also, you know, that idea about embracing impermanence is interesting. One, and then how you led into that, you know, being in the present moment in the now. So yeah, nicely done.
Thank you.
Roberta.
I have lost the screen. I don't know how to find it so I can mute. So I'll try to be quiet until I find
Okay,
it.
I can, there you go, you found it. All right, Roberta.
When I started my little musings on building a more positive attitude, I never dreamed it would become a weekly outlet for my voice. Almost 4 years later, my newsletter has become an intimate extension of my speaking, a way to reach out and help others find ways to have a good day. I am often amazed when I reread past writings and I think to myself, did I really write that? It makes me smile all day when someone sends me a positive note of appreciation for what I have written and how what I wrote helped uplift them and make them laugh.
Yeah, so nice and so true. You had put in the chat that you had never really thought of greatest accomplishments beyond family. So this was a good prompt for you. And that is really something, I have to say, something that I admire about you, about having these weekly newsletters, something that I haven't been able to do. And I admire those who can. So wonderful, Roberta. Thank you for sharing that. And it is a true accomplishment.
Thank you so much for your support and your help, Donna.
Yeah, absolutely. Kara Brusigar.
Okay. I never anticipated living outside of the Midwest. I love to visit other parts of the country, but moving elsewhere, not on my radar. But in the past 16 years, starting at the age of 60, I have lived in 3 distinct parts of the country: Midwest, Far West, California, South, and back to California. I have surprised myself that I've been able to create interesting, fulfilling lives in each of them. I consider that a significant achievement. I found ways to connect with a community, a tribe, that both was comfortable and stretched me in each place. I welcomed the broadening of my horizons. My curiosity about history, geography, politics, and diverse populations led me into new experiences. The differing perspectives gained provided a broader lens with which to see my own life. I see more clearly my generation and its place in history. All of this has enriched my life and my writing. Is this the last major move? Probably, but I don't close the door to another. Who knows what the future will bring?
Really nice, Carol. Yes, absolutely. And again, that accomplishment over a period of years and doing this. And it's one of those things too, when you look back, it's like, wow, did I really, right? Back and forth and this, different places and all that. And frankly, too, I kind of like the way you set up your age in the beginning, where you're saying, I started 16 or what was it, 12 years ago?
16 years ago.
16 years ago when I was this age. And so, the reader can quickly do the math. It's like, wow, that's really impressive of what she's been able to do, in those years. And then your conclusion, especially, I think is really powerful. Could you read those last 3 or 4 sentences again?
All of this has enriched my life and my writing. Is this the last major move? Probably, but I don't close the door to another. Who knows what the future will bring?
Yeah, I really like that kind of like that sense of like, who knows, and we will see, and it could happen. Yeah, it was like, okay, probably, but then it's like, who knows about that adventure? I really like the way you did that. And instead of saying like, yeah, I'm done. Like, this is it, never again, another moving box. But that kind of that sense of adventure. And I think then that would, what that does is call into your reader to have that same sense of wonder and like what could come next for them. So excellent. Good. All right. Okay. I was going to stop it at Wanda. First, I was going to stop it at Warren, and then Wanda raised her hand. I'm like, oh, I got to hear from Wanda. And now I see Abraham and PJ. So we are going to stop with PJ though, to bring this to a close. So next up, Warren.
Okay. I feel like I've violated every rule that we have here in this group. I wrote mine more as a like a biography, closing a book or whatever, as opposed to a story. But here it goes. This is based on having taught my Just Faith program at church. My first book, which was social justice, called Just Meet She, and it's about my startup of a business called Rise Up Industries. It's a re-entry program opened in Santee in March of 2016. It assists previously incarcerated, formerly gang-involved individuals to successfully re-enter society, thereby reducing the gang population and recidivism rate. Rise Up Industries was founded, we started it in 2013 by several ministers who volunteered with Kairos prison ministry at R.J. Donovan Correction Facility there near San Diego. We asked Father Greg Boyle, author of Tattoos on the Heart, to speak at Donovan, and Father Boyle founded Homeboy Industries in Los Angeles, the largest, most successful gang intervention and reentry program in the world.
Yep.
When we asked Father Greg if any programs like Homeboy existed in San Diego, he looked at us and said, "No, why don't you start one?" So we did. We have a machine shop and housing for assisting individuals re-entering society after incarceration. As a member of the founding board of directors, I wrote the business plan, started the process of getting our nonprofit status, and got several grants written and established links with several needed resources.
Yeah, really, really nice, Warren. And I'll tell you, this is actually kind of interesting because I can see how you can use this piece of writing. And what I like about it is like this almost sounds like how somebody would introduce you if you were doing a talk or a presentation. You'd probably want to revise a little bit instead of the we, just, Warren and his group,
Right.
or Warren Henderson Jr. and all of that. And then here's your opportunity. So after, you picture somebody reading this and it's like, oh, thank you so much, Paul, for introducing me that way. Now, let me really tell you the story behind this. And then you give that personal, the few stories about a challenge that you all came up against or a situation that you had. And then here's how you overcame it. So it's a nice kind of setup. And then it's like, here's behind the scenes, what was really happening. And I think you'd have the audience on the edge of their seat for that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Great ideas.
Yeah, I love it. Wanda.
Trying to find the unmute. Thank you. I just jotted this down while you asked about outside my family, what is my greatest achievement? And while I'm writing this book, I'm saying my greatest achievement is trusting my instincts and knowing what to do in situations that require immediate action. I go into bold or confidence mode by following my instincts. I look around my immediate surroundings to find whom to recruit for an emergency situation. I assess my solution. What is the problem that requires an urgent action? This is just instinct in my head. Who can I recruit to help or steer me in the right direction? What outcome do I see for the ultimate solution? I stick with that purpose in mind with laser focus as I progress to a solution. Dodge the pitfalls by keeping my solution in front of mind, regardless of distractions.
Wanda, that is fabulous. Really, really good.
Thank you.
It's so good. So Wanda, in case you're not familiar, is working on what I call a Jerry Seinfeld or Irma Bombeck type of essay book about her travels and different things like that, and situations and adventures she had in life. And the working title is What I Learned from This. And so she has a story and then she has that insight, like I was talking about earlier. And one thing, Wanda, I hope you don't mind me saying, but one thing that I have been encouraging you to do in writing parties and things like that is talk a little bit more about that reflection and about, who you are as a person, because sometimes we tell stories and then the insight we give can almost sound like, well, anybody could have wrote that. And so I'm always kind of pushing my writers to tell me, dig a little deeper, tell me a little bit more, something personal about you. And that's what you did right here. Like your thought process as you go through life and you're looking for people to, help with this or help with that. And I'll tell you, that is something I can really relate to as well, because that's something I do too. It's kind of like I'm always looking at the situation, and it's like, okay, if there was a type of emergency here that I needed some help, who would I go to or what would I do? And just kind of my way of coping a little bit sometimes with life. of looking at things that way. And that's what I heard in what you shared there. And I think that's really well done, giving that personal insight about who you are and the way you think. Excellent.
Thank you.
Yeah, save that and use it. Okay. All right, very good. Abraham, and then we'll finish up with PJ.
All right, thank you, Donna. Outside of my family, my greatest achievement today is becoming an author. As far as I know, no one in my family has ever authored a book, so it's a great achievement for me. By the time I finished writing The VIP Christian, I discovered that although I had written it to a specific audience, it was actually a chronicle of my journey to self-discovery, overcoming obstacles, and striving for achievement, high achievement. It helped me express what I have documented in my mind about life in general, and my life in particular, and also answer some questions that I believe others were asking, but were not able to articulate well. In other words, my journey is a typical human journey, and most people can relate with it, a journey of human destiny. It was written from the Christian perspective, but the principle of the book has a wide application for family, education, business, religion, and leadership, and cuts through all other religious persuasions. The VIP Christian has set a stage for greater achievement of fulfilling my destiny.
Yeah, very nice, Abraham. Excellent. And I'll tell you, you guys are just sharing so many great gems here this morning, and just wonderful techniques actually in your writing. And I'm happy to be here and kind of point them out. So one thing I really liked what you did here is saying, well, I'm the first in my family, to write a book and having this achievement. And that is really that's a great way of putting it, and to show your strength and your perseverance. Many times we hear it's like, well, I'm the first college graduate in my family, that kind of thing. But for saying, well, as far as I know, I'm the first author in my family, I like that, because it's just another way of using that phrase that people can relate to. And then it sets you up as someone who is strong and persevered. And, I was able to accomplish this for myself. And then I wrote down the word typical. I think it was just another, could you find the sentence where you use the word typical real quick?
Yes, that in other words, my journey is a typical human journey, and most people can relate with it, a journey of human destiny.
Yeah, okay. This is great. This is advanced writing, everybody. So what Abraham did there is, like, many times when I'm working with my authors and we're doing the introduction, we have this answer to the question, why am I the one to write this book? And we tend to go towards maybe education or experience, or, I would say, oh, well, I've led over 100 write a book in a weekend programs or something like that. But what Abraham did there is he made it sound like I'm just like you. This was a typical type of, read the sentence again, Abraham.
In other words, my journey is a typical human journey, and most people can relate with it, a journey of human destiny.
Yeah, it's like typical, but it was like, kind of special. And so what that does is it connects with the reader, saying, listen, like, I'm just like you. And if I can do this, then you can do this too. And that's a very powerful way to connect with your readers, where you let them know that, in such a way of speaking, I know this is different than Abraham's message in a way, but it's like, I'm nothing special. I was able to do this or achieve this, but you can too. That's really what we're doing, is we're like reaching across through the page and say, listen, come with me. I can show you how. And if I can do it, you can do it too. Well done, Abraham. Very nice.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And PJ Zito.
Okay, outside of my family. All right. Being able to influence and impact others has always motivated me. I believe that if we see individuals as the gift they are at the moment, we can create an environment that impacts lives and builds stronger, more meaningful relationships. While I was teaching at St. Patrick's School in West Park, Ohio, I attended an evening special ed class for deaf students who came to the school every Monday for religious education. Shockingly, none of the teachers knew sign language to communicate with these little kids. That inspired me to embark on a personal journey to study sign language and work with deaf and hard of hearing individuals for the next 30 years. I studied in St. Paul, Minnesota, and I was asked to perform 3 of my original songs in sign language for a nationwide film producing a project for that deaf school. I had to get special permission to be in the film because I was in the convent at the time. The first song began with me walking through the doors of St. Paul's Cathedral in jeans, signing about my decision to become a nun. Right in the middle of the song, I was magically transposed to be standing in my habit and veil, signing my yes right there on the steps. Over the next 30 years, I taught sign language to many large community groups and even got a call from the police station at 6 o'clock in the morning to help interrogate a deaf burglar who had been captured in a warehouse. He was deaf and never heard them coming. He was also playing the card, "I don't understand you because I can't hear," until I showed up for the interrogation process. I interpreted for my deaf friends every Sunday liturgy in my church for 30 years. Some amazing people have signed their way into my heart, and their impact on my life has been profound.
Very nice, PJ. Did you write that just during that session?
No, that was in my jot form.
Oh, it's something you pull. Okay. All right. Well, in any case, very, very good. And what I like about that is that you kind of start off really with like, well, my greatest achievement is others. And so then you switch the focus from yourself to other people. And then you brought it back to the specific audience and share something about yourself with the sign language and everything. And the little story about the burglar is just great. Just makes everybody smile. So that's awesome to keep in there. And then the jeans. And then of course, we all perk up. It's like convent, nun. And so that is something too, as I've been encouraging you to write, a little bit more about and things too. And it just kind of seeds your piece for the people to keep reading. So well done. Well done. Well done, everybody. Well, thank you for spending the morning here with me for, again, a little bit of a buffet of everything. And I really appreciate you being here, part of the Mastermind. We will be back next Friday with another section. In the meantime, keep on writing. For those of you taking part in Write a Book in a Weekend, it's not this weekend, of course, but next weekend, and watch your email for more trainings about ChatGPT, and then also getting started in your book to use it as a big business card. My name is Donna Kozik. I'm the creator and leader of the original Write a Book in a Weekend program. You can find out more about that at writewithdonna.com. In the meantime, have yourselves a great weekend. I'll see you in the bookstore. Take care.
Thanks, Donna.
Thank you. Love the smorgasbord.
I wasn't sure I could pronounce smorgasbord. So that's why I kept saying buffet.